Now, you've been hearing a lot from us about the Freedom Project and modern-day slavery, and I really hope you're going to hear a lot more, because we are dedicated to raising awareness. It's great, for me at least, to unite with like-minded people and discuss human trafficking, where we are in this fight against it. And that's just what we did last night here in Washington. Take a quick look.
I was exploited at the age of 7. I had no voice. Today, I have my voice to speak.
In the last 230 years, we've had 3 major campaigns to bring slavery to an end, and we're now engaged in the 4th.
You know, oh, come on. That's First Amendment. That's my right.
But it's not. Even the Supreme Court has said that obscenity is not protected speech.
If we're looking at the world, awareness is up, structures are there, but governments have to step up and actually solve this problem.
I've sat and listened to heads of state saying, and we are going to fight this scourge with everything we have, and then nothing is done.
I want the system changed, because I don't want another child, woman or man, to go through the circumstances, the things that happened to me, because as a survivor, as a victim, I had to pay a price of a lifetime.
No child has the legal, psychological, mental capacity to say, this is my choice to be exploited.
If I could just say...
Now, that discussion went on for almost 2 hours, so that was a very tiny slice of it. We did record some interviews, though, with the panels, and I want you to hear some of the core ideas that we heard. These people all know what they're talking about right from the start. As Ronnie Hong mentioned, she was a victim of human trafficking who's now helping others win freedom.
On this issue of slavery, we got to look at the root causes. What is causing this? And absolutely, poverty is one of the root causes of this issue. So if that's the case, then we need to look at the programs of empowerment.
Now, what do you mean by empowerment?
Empowerment, giving them livelihood, giving them job skills, training to give them so they can make income. In my village in India, there's a lot of poverty. So how do we look at the source area where trafficking is occurring, and how do we put empowerment, livelihood programs in those areas so victims have access?
There are 17,000 murders in the United States almost every year, about that. There are, according to the State Department, there are 17,000 people trafficked into the United States every year. We have about 45,000 homicide specialists in the police forces of the United States. We have about 50 to 100 slavery and trafficking specialists for the same number of victims. We spend about $4 billion on homicide. We spend about $150 million on slavery. So is it a surprise that we clear up 70 to 75% of all murders and less than 1% of slavery and trafficking cases that we estimate are occurring? No. We've got the penalties. We just don't have any money to back them up. It's a question we have to ask of our government as well. When a country makes a law, it's basically making a promise to its own citizens that murder is not going to be allowed in this country, slavery is not going to be allowed in this country. But if no one puts the resources behind that promise, what's the promise worth?
People don't realize that if you drive it, if you text it, if you dress in it, you are probably involved in some way in a slave's life, because somewhere in the world someone who's subject to forced labor or debt bondage has been involved in that particular product. And people need to realize that. They need to hold not only governments accountable, but they need to engage with the businesses who sell the products that they use and say, this is not acceptable. We need to end this.
Is there a frustration that you just can't reach the people that need to hear the message to find out that they do have rights, that there is someone that would help them?
I think that's an important point, but I think the Freedom Project, it's one of these things where the longest journey has to start somewhere. And I think that what many of the groups have said is if we can just have a series of small victories, we can build momentum off the back of those small victories. So I think, if you've got the right kind of message and you're pushing it on a consistent basis and you're doing it with the right kind of partners, which we're doing with this, I do think the word is getting out, there's no doubt.